morning, church, or good afternoon, whenever you're watching. I want to introduce you to a couple of friends I made over this last year. This is Brant Small and Tom Sylvia. And Brant and Tom, why don't you take a moment to introduce yourselves?
Hey, church. My name's Brant Small. I'm a native Texan. I've got 4 kids. In fact, just a month ago from this recording, we had our 4th child. So our 4th baby girl named Gemma. So I got 4 kids and went to Dallas Baptist University and I'm in El Paso, Texas now, church planting, and with Tom here.
Hey, FBC Belton. My name's Tom Sylvia. I am a East Coast Tennessean, North Carolinian, and I graduated from Southeastern Baptist Theological Seminary and moved out to the desert and the border with my wife, Carissa, and we have 2 kids. And we are here in the great city of El Paso in the great state of Texas, enjoying the desert life and planting and sharing the good news of Jesus.
So Brant and Tom have just recently planted Sun City Church in El Paso. And so guys, how did God lead you to El Paso? I mean, in other words, why El Paso?
Yeah, we have some unique stories on this one, but I was actually pastoring a church in East Texas. Had no desire to leave there. It was in my hometown. Absolutely loved it. But I went to a church tax seminar, and at this church tax seminar, there was a statistic that I read in a little brochure magazine that they had the lost statistics of different cities in Texas, and they considered El Paso close to 90% lost or unchurched. And for a guy in Texas, like that it didn't compute with me. And so I called the guy up and was like, hey, we need to come out and bring mission teams out. Had no desire to church plant at that time. We just wanted to come out and serve and help see that number go down. And the guy was like, hey, we need church planters. And that's what he kept asking me. And I was like, hey, that's not what we're doing right now. And he finally convinced us to come check it out. I actually called Tom to hear and see, hey, the city is lost as what it appears on paper, and he confirmed that. And the area where we're actually planting Sun City Church, the zip code, has maybe a handful of churches if we're being generous, and it's close to 70,000 people. You take that against what we see in East Texas, and you throw a rock and it'll hit 3 churches before it lands. So it was just really the lostness. We came and went to neighborhood after neighborhood after neighborhood on our vision trip, and there were no churches in many of the neighborhoods around here. So I think that was what really drew us to El Paso, was to say this city needs a gospel presence and the gospel to continue to take root in new churches and new locations. And I think that's what really drew us to El Paso.
Cool. Tom, do you have anything to add to that?
I would probably just echo all that. It was the staggering realization that there was a city on the border in Texas that was so lost. When you consider Juarez and El Paso, approximately 3 million individuals, less than 10% claim Jesus as their Lord. And who will go? I was like, I will go. And so, yeah. Thank
you guys so much. I'm humbled that you heard the call and you surrendered to it and you went. Total. It's like going, I would imagine it's like going to a new country, total new location. And you guys are serving, and thank you for that. So how is the work going? I mean, where have you been? What's happening now? Where are you guys headed in these days?
Yeah, thanks for that question. So we started out officially August 1st, meeting as a core team of individuals, and we started with just our families. We had a couple more families join in, and then they shortly left. But over the course of from August to December, we made up about 40 people. That's including children. And that was the core team we started with. And we got to know each other. We became a family. And in January, starting of this year, we launched, and as everybody got to experience COVID-19 in year 2020, we also had to halt our services starting mid-March. But prior, from January to March, we were seeing a lot of progress, and part of it just has to simply to do with the fact that as Brant already mentioned, the lack of churches in our area. One family ended up joining us because their words were the closest church they could get to was like a 20 or 25-minute drive. Mm-hmm. And we shortened their distance to 10 minutes just because there's none there. But our last Sunday, we were very close to 70 individuals, most of which were guests. So we were picking up steam. We were seeing a plurality or difference of ethnicities, of different backgrounds, reaching the military base here in town, the Hispanics. So the Lord was just doing wonderful things. Because the funny thing is, Brant mentioned how the Lord brought us together. We can equally say the same thing about our core team and the people that are part of our church now. It's all been the Lord doing it, and we have been blessed with our core team. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we know it's from the Lord, because we couldn't have picked a better team. But since then, since COVID, we moved our just Sunday morning messages to online. We continued to do our small groups via Zoom, probably like most of the world. Had a lot of good opportunities with that, in that the surrounding community, we were getting close to 200 to 300 complete views of our Sunday morning messages. And we're now, I think we're our 4th week or coming up on our 5th week after COVID, meeting again in a space. In the midst of COVID, we were meeting in a high school, but due to COVID, we're not able to meet in the high school currently. So we've had to seek a different location in the area, which was a task in and of itself. We approached different realtors, and one of the realtors actually turned us down because we were a church. Their words were, "We don't want churches in our buildings." And so there was a little bit of that, I don't want no hostilities, but just slow weariness with churches. And we've found an event center, and it's meeting our needs right now. We don't know when we'll ever get to go back into school, if the schools will open up again. That is just one of the things we'll just continue to trust and put in the Lord's hands. But since we've opened back up again, we've been able to meet new couples, new people from the military, with them now being able to relocate once again and all that. But Brant and I, just with the honor of being both of us too, we've been able to connect with all of our members every week. We've been able to connect with potential guests almost every week. Continually to do in ministry, a lot of time being able to focus on the personal, one-on-one, getting to know everyone in this time. So we've been able to really just take this COVID time, as the world's kind of slowly stopped turning, to really continue to build up our core team. So it's almost 4 weeks ago, it's almost like we got to have a second relaunch. So we were grateful for that. And we're grateful just to see how the Lord is continuing to move forward. And, in the midst of all this, we still have our challenges. We still have our challenges about what we're going to do with our kids. Right now, we don't have a kids' nursery because of space issues. We have members that still aren't able to attend because of social distancing guidelines with the military base, some of our elderly people. So there's still issues we're thinking through and still having to develop, and still figuring out, like, are we going to continue to do outreach when all of our parks are closed? So still things to think through, still things to pray about, but also ample time and ample opportunities to just display trust and faith in the Lord. So.
That's awesome. Brant, do you have anything to add to that?
I would just add kind of a surprising feature that happened for us in the, maybe not surprising, but not as prevalent as what we thought. It was our connection with the military base. That is, and when we talk about why El Paso, that's one of the reasons too. We've got a military base with close to 35,000 soldiers, most of which are lost and neglected by a lot of churches and church plants because they're such a transient community. And we've just had the opportunity to connect and be a family, a home, a landing place for a lot of these soldiers, and seeing new young soldiers come in and begin to kind of actually own their faith and walk out has been just a beautiful thing that I think we knew was part of the heartbeat, but has really become part of our DNA too as a church, is that we're here to love on those that may not have a home for very long because they may be sent off somewhere else. But that was something that I think really was exciting for us in this season and the season prior to COVID. And but the Lord's just been really good in allowing us to have connections with the military base and with soldiers.
It's amazing to see, two different men that God calls, he and their families, and they both come to El Paso, and you become co-planters of one church, Sun City Church, and he puts you in a very strategic neighborhood, and it's in eastern El Paso, if I recall correct, and he's just blessing, and it's been great to read about you guys' story and to talk to you guys from time to time. I wanted to ask about your relationship to Texas Baptists and the Mary Hill Davis offering. How has that been a support for you guys? And has it made a difference, and what kind of difference it has made for you?
Yeah, it's been huge. My home church, First Baptist Sulphur Springs, is a Texas Baptist church, and so we've had a lot of connections there through that, and has just been able to make this really what started out as a dream an actual reality, that we would actually be here and be able to be doing ministry. And during COVID, some of the money that the Texas Baptists have been sending and participating in our ministry has gone to feed people that have lost jobs. We've been able to provide over $1,200–1,300 worth of groceries to people that have no means, and we plan on continuing to do that because some of them have lost jobs that may not come back. And so yeah, every dollar that's come in has been just a massive blessing in allowing us to be able to minister to this community, and specifically the far east side of El Paso. But it allows us to do ministry instead of always kind of concerned with where's the next bit of resources and things coming from. The Texas Baptists have been super supportive in the work of Sun City Church.
That's awesome. Well, guys, we're going to get close to wrapping up here, but I do want to ask, how can First Baptist Belton be praying for Sun City Church and you and your families?
Yeah, just be praying for our church as a whole in regards to meeting space, as we're thinking through how we're going to take care to the kids with the nursery, with following social distancing guidelines, and just being responsible in that way. Also, just be praying for the Lord just to show us opportunities to serve our neighbors in a unique way that opens the door to the gospel. Also pray for just Brant and I, for both of us, to continue to grow, just build stronger relationships with our current core team, and to continue to help disciple them to love and worship the Lord more, with a more pure heart and more pure mind, to reach more of El Paso. For those things, we're as a whole.
Wait a second, somebody's siren is winning out.
That's on mine. My bad.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and continue, Tom.
Also, I'll speak for my family. You can just be praying for us as we've been inside, quarantining ourselves for a couple months. Just be praying that eventually the parks do open and the splash pads do open in the 100-degree desert, so that my family and my kids can enjoy the water.
All right.
So,
thank you. Brent?
And I'll echo, Tom's, especially for the church. Specifically, though, just a continued presence with the military. We'd really love. We had some really neat plans before COVID to actually get on base and do some marriage conferences and things like that to love on soldiers in an area that's a struggle for a lot of them. But COVID has since changed a lot of things. So I just pray for the continued opportunities with the base. For us personally, as a family, we're in a season of just chaos a little bit, beautiful chaos. Just had our fourth child, and I'm in the middle finishing up a seminary class here, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, and the church plant and things getting back rolling. And so there's a lot of time constraints right now that we're trying to navigate and work through well. So just pray for us that we would do that. We'd do that well, and we would be able to sustain in kind of the chaos of what is this season of ministry.
Well, thank you for taking the time to talk with us today. And before we yell cut, is there anything else that you want to say? Anything God's saying, you know what, I want First Baptist Belton to know this, or anything?
I think just
we'll let Tom go first.
There's so much we want to say. We have to get it out so quickly. No, I just personally, I want to say, and I'll speak for both of us here for sure, just thank you. Thank you for the blessing of your support, of your prayers. I think it was just not too long ago that Brant and I were together, and we got a little Facebook notification from one of your members sharing our information on Facebook. Cool. We didn't know them, but they were doing that, and that was a big blessing. And for you guys, it's continually reaching out. And I got an email from your prayer team asking how you guys could be praying for us. So all of those things I just want to say thank you for caring and the intentionality.
That's great.
Cool. Yeah. I'm going to echo that. I was going to say thanks as well. And I just want to just speak a word of encouragement to you as well, that so from our gratitude from this thing, so one of the beautiful things about this is we get to see, like what Philippians is talking about in gospel partnerships, like we get to see that actively and how that impacts the gospel going to different areas. And so I just want to say thank you, and for what you are doing in giving and prayer. It goes to taking the gospel to places where you're presently not at. And it's just a beautiful thing in the way God's designed us to be together and to partner together in the gospel. So thank you for your partnership in this work.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I'm kind of hoping that in 2021, we can come meet you guys physically, maybe bring a small team out and just partner in real life together. I'd like that.
That'd be great. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much.